Good morning, YouTube. It is 10 a.m. in the great state of Texas, and let me tell you, it does snow in Texas. So this was, I believe, December, November, January, somewhere. It was last winter, basically, when I took this little shot, and we got a little bit of snow, and if you know anything about Texas, if it snows, we basically shut down the entire state and don't know how to act. So I thought it would be cool to make a mobile fire pit, because when I moved into my new house, we were supposed to have one, and I guess I didn't install it. So this is actually a project that I did over like the course of like 2 months, coming back and forth to it. So all it is rebar, and I have a flux welder. And before you crazy people who do real welding come on here and tell me that that's not real welding, that's the best that I got. So here we are. I got my rebar. Picked this up at Lowe's, of course, and here I am messing with my my face shield here, because the damn thing isn't working appropriately. So here I am trying to adjust it. It works off of a battery, and I'm trying not to go blind, so I'm coming back and forth trying to ensure that safety first, because safety is #1 priority on this channel, obviously, because I don't know what I'm doing. So I got the rebar set up the way that I wanted to. I'm doing like this grate kind of thing where I'm just like weaving everything in and out, taking the flux core and just basically attaching everything to all the points that I want it to. Nothing too fancy. Like I said, I am not a welder. It's more of a hobby. Just like when I do woodworking on this channel, it's just a hobby. It's nothing too serious. So, feel free to leave plenty of critiques in the comments. I know people will, but overall, this is going to work out, because once we get toward the end, this definitely works. So got the graded kind of the way that I want to, and you're not going to see every weld that we do on here. So we just went back and forth trying to get everything adhesed, and it had been a long time since I did any kind of real welding. Actually, in all honesty, this is my first welding project that I have ever really completed. I've messed around with the welder before in the garage when I was in the old house. If you go back and watch one of my previous videos, I think there's a video entitled "My First Time Welding," and it's just basically me putting two pieces of metal together. So this is actually the first real project that I ever did. So like I said, I did this I want to say in maybe December. I started it, and then didn't finish it completely until about February of 2022. You guys are watching this in probably October or November, definitely the fall of 2022. So this has almost been a year since I did this project. So back and forth, just getting all these welds attached to the points where I want them to be. Nothing too fancy. Obviously, as long as it attaches, that's all I really care about when I'm doing this. And the fact that I can, get two pieces of metal that stick together, that's a win for me. So nothing, I'm not too, worried about the actual integrity. I should be worried about the integrity of the welds, I guess, but I'm just happy that this is working so far. So got the ends put together the way I want to, and at the end of the project, you can see that I might have gone a little too big on this one, but overall, really happy the way this turned out in the end. So all we're doing is taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces of rebar long and 2 on the side, and then we're just putting them on the ends and in the middle just to kind of reinforce the integrity of the weld. And a lot of this is just me going back and forth trying to put the welds in the best I can. And if you've ever done flux core welding before, it's kind of, I don't know. This is the only welding I've ever really done, so I can't tell you about MIG or TIG or any other kind of welding. This is all I know. And by the time I'm done with this, my welding table is completely shot off with spatter from all of the flux core that's just getting all over the place. And I did go back and adjust my welds a little bit, so you won't get to see that in here. So then I took a piece of just steel, and basically instead of putting a piece of rebar, I'm just going to go back and put that as another supportive measure, and taking the 4.5-inch grinder, and now we're just cutting that down to the point that I want it to. Little baby vise in there, and now we're just getting 2 of these so that we can put these as supports for the overall structure of the crate that we're creating here. So once we got that all down, now I'm just coming back and welding these back onto the piece of rebar itself. Obviously, we're making a couple of different passes, and I'm pretty sure if professional welders are watching this at home, they're going, yeah, probably not the best technique, because I keep going back and forth, and a lot of it just didn't adhere. I got a lot of spatter on it, and it seems like no matter what I did, I want to say probably what I ended up doing was not cleaning up the actual material itself, and that probably contributed a lot to it. So went ahead and cut these down, and now all we're going to do is make the fence portion of the actual welder itself, and make, the actual, it's the fence. It's basically what's going to hold the wood together. And like I said, by the time I get to the end of it, I realize maybe I made this too big, because in my old house, I had an indoor fireplace, and I had something similar like this built. I didn't build it, obviously. I picked it up at the store, but that's all essentially what I'm doing here, is getting these little pieces of rebar, fencing them in there, getting everything attached, making sure everything is where we want it to be, so that we can actually make the actual fencing, so none of the wood actually pops out. And this was like a really fun project to build. So, not a whole lot of commentary on like dimensions and stuff. This is just to give people an idea of, hey, if you want to make something like this and you have a flux welder at home, you can definitely do it. So once we got all the fencing done, obviously I did it on each side of it. And now what we're going to do is just basically make a box to kind of support this in, because I wanted this to be mobile. So what we're doing is just measuring out the bottom of the box that I'm going to create with 2x4, and then add concrete. And be careful, wear gloves, because I didn't, and I ended up cutting myself on one of those damn pieces of rebar because it's sharp. So here we are, got the table saw, and now we're just basically making the 2x4 into the box shape that we want to, getting all the dimensions cut down the way we want, and then we're going to go ahead and make basically this is essentially the box that the concrete's going to hold itself in, and this is what we're going to attach the actual grate to. So here I am. I made some pilot holes with a drill initially, and then came back with deck screws and just got everything attached to the portions that I wanted to. So that's what I ended up using here, just getting everything attached and into the actual material that I want it to be in. So once we got the actual box frame done, now we're just taking the bottom of the fence or bottom of the post, and we're going just to take some nails and attempt to attach this. And I don't know what it was that I was doing wrong this day, but like I went back and forth with nails and just could not get anything lined up the way I wanted to. So I ended up taking that like 3 or 4 different tries, and then finally ended up getting it, going, and now just attached that all together. And then I went back, added some 4x4 pieces on the bottom. So this is where the wheels are going to kind of attach to. So I've got 5 points of support, 1 on each corner and then 1 on the middle. So because this is actually pretty heavy, and then once you add the concrete in there, it's going to be even more heavy. So all I'm doing here is just attaching that. Obviously that block failed, and then I'm just putting in those deck screws that you saw from earlier, getting those attached. So now I'm going to make the bottom supports, and I just went back with the grinder, getting those cut down to the dimensions that I want to, and then essentially doing the same thing. I did the first 3, and then this is just the 4th one, because by now you're sick and tired of watching me weld pieces together very poorly. So these are what's going to actually sit in the box, and then we're going to go ahead and pour the concrete on there to where it'll actually sit and support the actual structure overall. And then for some reason decided to go back and weld some more, because hey, why not? That's essentially what I'm doing here. And yes, I know I'm reusing horrible technique, however, it works. So I picked up these coasters at Lowe's, and luckily they had exactly what I needed. So these are just 5 small steel wheel structures or steel coasters that I'm going to attach to the bottom of the box. And you can see here I've already drilled pilot holes where they're all going to go, so we can get them screwed in evenly, and that they'll have appropriate attach points, because that's super important. You want everything nice and even so that you don't get any kind of like real wobble on this one. So having to go back and forth, by now I've got 4 of them attached, and then we're going to come back and add the one in the middle. I can't say enough, if you're going to do this, don't use plastic. Use definitely these steel. These are steel wheels that I'm using here. So these will definitely hold up to the outdoor elements where you're going to put this. So once I got that built, I was pretty happy with myself because I was like, oh my god, I've never built a box on wheels before, and this actually fucking worked. So I was super stoked about that. And then it was all even. Bam, bam, bam on each side. So I was like, oh my god. And I'm going to move the camera to where you can actually see. Look at that. Boom. Even. Leveled. Look at that. Leveled. One more. Leveled. One more. Leveled. Oh my god. Super stupid happy about that. So realizing that I have no idea what I'm doing and that I was really worried about the integrity of it, what I ended up doing was going to the store and getting some steel stick and just I wasn't more concerned about the integrity of the welds as much as I was about the sharp edges of a lot of this stuff. So instead of having nice clean welds, this is mostly just to reinforce people from cutting themselves. So as much as it is going to help with the actual overall integrity, it was still important to put those on portions of it that were kind of sharp. So now what I'm doing, once I got the fence built, now I'm going to take this piece of rebar, cut it down to some dimensions, and now we're going to basically make a railing system on top of those little fence posts that we did. And all we're doing here is adjusting the the area that we want it to. So here we are, just making a railing system, trying to get the dimensions the way that we want to. Initially, all you're going to do is place one single weld on there, and then just come back and reinforce the areas that you need to. And you're just going to do that all the way around. And I did a double rebar on each one of those portions, and that's basically just to have like a handle system so that people can move it around a little bit easier, as you'll see a little bit later in the video. You won't see every single weld on this one. This is just kind of giving you an idea of what I was doing and what I was thinking for this one. So you can see here we did the double rail on each side, and this is just me going back and forth adding that the other piece of rebar that we want to get in there. And again, using a horrible technique with the flux welder, but it's working. So once we got that all built, and I went back and put that steel putty on all the sharp corners just to make sure that there were no sharp corners to where I get cut, because you saw me get cut earlier in the video. So then we went ahead and placed this into the box that we're going to pour the concrete, and we're just going to make sure that it's well enough to where it attaches to the box, so we have a nice sturdy foundation. And that's all I did. Obviously, we're using Quickcrete on this one. This is my first time actually working with any kind of concrete substance as well. So this is a video of a lot of firsts for me. So got that in there. Now we're just going to make everything nice and level, get even distribution of the actual concrete itself. And this is just so that the actual crate itself doesn't come out. So I thought it would be cool to do like a tray on the bottom to where you can catch all the ashes. And obviously it's snowing now, so also do not do welding in the snow. This is my dumbass trying to do weld. This is like thin sheet metal that I'm trying to do flux core welding, and it basically ate away at the damn thing. I don't know anything about welding. I didn't know that would happen. So here I am trying to go back and forth, attach these walls that I've basically fabricated the dimensions that I wanted this box to be. But you can see here, it's just eating away at the bottom of it. And I had to go back and forth and do like a little bit more gentle welds on it so it didn't disintegrate. So bam, here's another side wall. I'm like, oh my God, this looks like hot garbage. It does look like hot garbage. I had to go back and forth so many times to fix these problems. And doing it in the snow and the cold obviously was just another stupid move. I mean, it worked overall, but it was a genuine pain in the ass to make, because I did not know that thin sheet metal would cut like that, which was just horrible. So again, FYI tip, don't do this in the snow. It's not very smart. So got the box kind of the shape that we wanted to. Obviously you can see here, it just looks like hot shit. And I'm taking, this is the coolest thing. This is the first time I got to use my plasma cutter. So I'm basically just cutting it to the dimensions that I wanted to. Dude, if you have a plasma cutter, it's the most awesome thing ever. So I can't tell you how much this saved my life. I could have came back with a 4.5 inch grinder to do this, but I was like, hell no, I got a freaking plasma torch. Use the plasma torch, people. So anyway, I got that cleaned up. Kind of fast forward to the project. This is what it looks like once it's all nice and built. Got the box to the dimensions that I wanted to. Finally ended up fixing those welds on the sides of the box. You'll see here. I'm just pulling it out. Bam, got that all done and taken care of. Obviously, the steel stick came back and saved me for a lot of those spots. But concrete dried, and this is just to catch all the ashes on the bottom of it. And overall, really happy the way this turned out. My wife didn't think I was able to do it, but damn it, we got it done. Can't say enough, good things about this. So hope you guys got something out of this. Hope you enjoyed it. It moves. I'm gonna kick it here in a little bit. Here's the wood. It's sturdy. It holds up to all of that. And then we're just gonna set this bad boy on fire. And I think I ended up kicking this, and then whoop, fell off the edge there. Sorry about that. But it works. That's all that matters. Check this out. Look at that. Moving, boom. So hope you liked it. Don't forget to subscribe. Peace. You said this wasn't gonna work. It's working. Woo.
Anybody can make a fire. It's containing the fire. That's.
Yeah, we're containing the fire. But you got a mobile fireplace. And okay. What
are you doing?
I've had a couple of drinks. Dude, that fucking works.
Except for that flame right
It's okay.
there.
It's just a small little part.